We're live.
Hi, everybody. This is Scarlett Roger with the Fearless Online Entrepreneurs. And I just wanted to welcome you on this wonderful Monday, May 12th, and day after Mother's Day. I'm hoping that we all had a beautiful Mother's Day. I think all of our Fearless Online Entrepreneurs did as we touched base. And today we're going to talk about who you surround yourself with. Um, if you would like to check us out on our YouTube channel or go to our Fearless Online Entrepreneurs website at Facebook, you can go to find us there. We are reading Jack Canfield's The Success Principles, and go back to the person who maybe recommended you to get the link for Amazon. But that's where we are. We're at chapter principle 25 today. And I'm going to start reading, and then we're going to discuss after we read a little bit, and then get somebody else to pick it up after that. We are on page 189. Drop out of the Ain't It Awful Club and surround yourself with successful people. Your average of the five people you spend the most, you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with. John Rohn, self-made millionaire and successful author. When Tim Ferriss was 12 years old, an unidentified caller left the above Jim Rohn quote on his answering machine. It changed his life forever. For days, he couldn't get the idea out of his mind. At only 12 years of age, Tim recognized that the kids he was hanging out with were not the ones he wanted influencing his future. So he went to his mom and dad and asked them to send him to a private school. 4 years at St. Paul's School set him on a path that led him to a junior year abroad in Japan studying judo and Zen meditations. 4 years at Princeton University, where he became an All-American wrestler, a national kickboxing champion, and eventually started his own company at age 23. Tim knew that every parent intuitively knows that we become like the people we hang with. Why else are parents always telling children that they don't want them hanging out with those kids? It's because we know that kids and adults become like the people they hang around with. That is why it's so important to spend time with the people you want to become like. If you want to become more successful, you have to start hanging out with more successful people. There are lots of places to find successful people. Join a professional association, attend your professional conferences, join the Chamber of Commerce, join a country club, join the Young Presidents Organizations or the Young Entrepreneurs Organizations, volunteer for leadership positions. Join civics groups like Kiwanis, Optimists International, and Rotary International. Volunteer to serve with other leaders in your church, temple, or mosque. Attend lectures and symposia, courses, seminars, clinics, camps, retreats taught by those who already achieved what you want to achieve. Fly first class or business class whenever you can. You become most like the people you spend your time with. Pay any price to stay in the presence of extraordinary people. Mike Murdoch, author of The Leadership Secrets of Jesus. I can keep reading her. I mean, I'm loving this. Right now, it's like I think this is really awesome. I don't know about yourselves. I'm a mom, and I think I say this to all my children, but I think it's something as adults that we really need to look at and look at who we're spending our time with. And, maybe that's the effect, and that's what's going on with our business as well. Does anybody have anything to say so far?
I agree with that. I quite frequently have conversations with my youngest daughter is very tender-hearted and sometimes get what I call sucked into the drama of, being a girl at school. And I have definitely, helped steer her towards friends that will be there for the long haul versus friends who just want to use your good nature.
Yeah.
And so we've definitely had that conversation, and anytime she has a really, and I try not to be too negative about it, because obviously if you tell them, no, you can't hang out with that person, they, of course, want to do the exact opposite just to show you wrong. But I really encourage my daughter when she has has nice friends over, and I will compliment her on her choice of friends. That seems to be a little bit more effective than boycotting who she does hang out with.
I agree with that. I think that's a definite must in being a parent. Would anybody like to pick up and read?
Hey, Scarlett, I wanted
Yeah.
to jump out and add to what you and Jody shared. Think about my son, my oldest son, who's 19. When he was a little boy, he was just the busiest little boy that I had ever seen. And I remember when I had taken him out of one school, he was in a Christian school, and I took him to another school. And as you know, as parents, some of us, we would take our kids and we'll leave them there. I was the type of parent that I wanted to see where my child was at and who he was being surrounded by. And so I just kind of like sat there in the corner and observed and watched what was going on. And I noticed that he was more attracted to the kids that were causing problems, they were causing trouble. And so I called him over. I said, Cassius, come here. Come here for a second. And then, I talked to him. I said, you see what that little boy is doing over there? He said, yes, ma'am. So you see what that little boy is on? I said, now, which one do you think is the better place to spend your time? Who do you think that you should be spending your time and making friends with them? And he said, that one over there, mommy. And so it makes me think about, Jody, what you said when you say you don't want to force them to go somewhere. So give them a choice and give them, show them, how their choices will affect them in the long run. And so that little lesson that he learned when he was in, I think maybe like the first or second grade, has carried with him throughout his entire life, because he actually has learned how to pick friends. And if they don't build him up, then he doesn't hang around them. And so far, he doesn't have very many friends for that fact. But I don't see him in a lot of trouble, which is really great. So just wanted to add that to what you and Jody shared.
I, I agree with that 100%. I'm going through that with a 13-year-old right now.
I also wanted to add that if you hang with like-minded entrepreneurs or like-minded people, they will rub off on you, and you will be better for it, because you should hang with people that can help you grow and build you up. You shouldn't be hanging with people that are negative and always got negative things to say. You should be hanging with people that are positive, that will reinforce what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go.
Yes, and I would like to absolutely piggyback on that one. It's so true, because I know for myself I've changed so much because I'm spending time with our team and I'm spending time on these hangouts, and I'm reading my stuff that I need to read, but also we grow if we hang out with each other. So that's where our business goes to the next level, is that we stay around each other and help each other grow.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I agree 100%. Does anybody want to pick up right here on page 190?
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
Just let
cool.
me click to it now that I figured out my new computer and how to actually go screen to screen. All right, so John Assaraf is a successful entrepreneur who has seemingly done it all, including traveling the world for a year in his 20s, owning and operating a franchising company whose annual real estate revenues topped $3 billion, and helping to build internet virtual tour pioneer Bamboo.com, now IPEX. From a team of 6 people to a team of 1,500 in just over a year, netting millions in monthly sales and completing a successful initial public offering on the NASDAQ after just 9 months. John was a street kid who had been entangled in a world of drugs and gangs. When he landed a job working in the gym at the Jewish Community Center across the street from his apartment in Montreal, his life was changed by the powerful principle that you become like the people you spend the most time with. In addition to earning $1.65 an hour, he received access to the Men's Health Club. John recounts that he got his early education in business in the men's sauna. Every night after work from 9:15 to 10 p.m., you'd find him in the steamy hot room listening to successful businessmen tell their tales of success and failure. Many of those successful men were immigrants who had come to Canada to stake their claim, and John was fascinated as much by their setbacks as by their successes. The stories of what went wrong with their businesses, families, and health gave him inspiration, because his own family was experiencing tremendous challenges and difficulties. And John learned that it was normal to have challenges, that other families also went through similar crises and still made it to the top. These successful people taught John to never give up on his dreams. No matter what the failure, they told him, try another way, try going up, over, around, or through, but never give up. There's always a way. John also learned from these successful men that it makes no difference where you are born, what race or color you are, how old you are, or whether you come from a rich family or a poor family. Many of the men in the sauna spoke broken English. Some were single, some were divorced, some were happily married, and some were not. Some were wealthy, and others were in terrible shape. Or some were healthy, sorry. Some had college degrees and some didn't. Some hadn't even been to high school. For the first time, John realized that success is not reserved just for those born into well-to-do families without challenges and to whom every advantage has been given. He realized that no matter what the conditions of your life, you could build a life of success. He was in the presence of men from all walks of life who had done it and freely shared their wisdom and experience with him. Every night, John attended his own private business school, in a sauna, in a Jewish community center. You too need to be surrounded with those who have done it. You need to be surrounded with people who have a positive attitude, a solution-oriented approach to life, people who know that they can accomplish whatever they set out to do. Confidence is contagious, so is lack of confidence. Vince Lombardi, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, who led them to 6 division titles, 5 NFL championships, and 2 Super Bowls, 1 and 2.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Um, does
That
anybody
was a
have?
lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I mean, how brilliant and what a great way to be able to tap in. And it's kind of like where they said join the country clubs, you know. I know that you can. There's a lot of these country clubs that you can join. It's like $100 a month, and you have access to a bunch of them. Where you can do like Club Core, I think is the name of it, and throughout the United States. But that's a great way to be able to, for not so much money, be able to plug in to surround yourself with, you know, people that are in the country clubs, for example. Does anyone have anything to say about what we just read?
You know, I had read somewhere else or been taught this in the last couple of years with self-development that you are the 5 people you hang around with. So if you're looking at your results, either be it health, wealth, or even family-oriented, you know, look at who you're hanging out with because that's the life you're leading.
Exactly. And that's also, I mean, it's hard in a sense because, you know, it's hard. It's hard in a sense because it's like, you know, there's some people that you may have to drop out of your life, but that, you know, if that's what's keeping you back, you know, what is for your family what's most important? You know, not hurting feelings, or, you know, becoming more of a successful person, and in all areas, not just money wise, you know, in positive thinking, and, you know, and I'm sure that's where we're going to go to the next, drop out of the It Ain't It Awful Club. Does anyone want to pick that up, or does anybody have anything else to say? 'Cause I
Yeah,
think that's right where we're going to.
I was as you were talking about in every area of your life. One of the things that I learned early on was that it's important that you, yes, we're all entrepreneurs, so it's important that we surround ourselves with like-minded people. And as Jody mentioned, you know, the 5 people that you hang around is you take that their totals and you divide them by 5, and that's the income that you will have. So if you're not earning the amount of money that you want to earn, then it's really important that you seek out individuals that you can hang around that are making more than you. Because if you're hanging around people that are making less than you, then you're not going to go to where you want to go. Same thing applies to any other area of your life. I like marriage is one that I think it's really important that individuals, surround themselves with people who have successful, happy marriages. And that's in every area of life. Children, raising children. If you are hanging around people who have chaotic relationships with their children, you're going to attract the same thing to your life. So it's really, really important that you find a mentor in every single area of your life, and people that you want to be like, and learn from them and grow from them. Back to you, Scarlett.
Awesome. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I wanted to add on to what everybody said, but the biggest thing is don't ever give up on what you believe and what you want to do. One thing that Jody, when she was reading, it said those successful people taught John to never give up on his dreams. No matter what the failures, they told him, try another way. Try going up, over, around, or through, but never get up. I thought that was really, really powerful. And I'm going to implement that in some of the things that I'm doing is never go through it. If you can't find a way around it, go through it, but don't give up. That's very, very important, because you could be at the 5-yard line getting ready to do a touchdown and you give up. So if you feel like you're going in the right direction and you're doing all the things necessary to achieve success in every area of your life, don't give up because it gets difficult, or if you're not sure which way to go, talk to your mentor or talk to the like-minded people that you're hanging out with, and together you can come up with a solution. But the solution is not to give up.
And I think you need to not hang around with those people who would say to you, well, why are you having such a big dream? Maybe just dream. I've had obviously issues with this because I've mentioned it a few times. And sometimes you have to and it can be friends and family. I mean, sometimes family can be like that too. But you just have to say that, not spending as much time with them, making your calls a little bit shorter, and find those 5 people who are also going to be cheerleaders for each other as well too. I think that those 5 people, you want to choose them wisely, and you want to be able to empower each other and give support to those people in your life as well.
Absolutely, Jody, 110%. That was the piece that was missing that I didn't include. That was awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so gosh, you guys, this is probably one of my favorites that we've had in a long time. Does anyone want to pick up the next drop out of the Ain't It Awful Club, or do you want me to continue? Okay, thanks, Miss Rachel.
Drop out of the Ain't It Awful Club. There are 2 types of people: anchors and motors. You want to lose the anchors and get with the motors, because the motors are going somewhere and they're having more fun. The anchors will just drag you down. Whalen, world-renowned marine artist. When I was a first-year history teacher in Chicago High School, I quickly stopped going into the teacher's lounge, which I soon dubbed the Ain't It Awful Club. Worse than the haze of cigarette smoke that constantly hung over the room was a cloud of emotional negativity. Can you believe what they want us to do now? Question mark. I got that Simon's kid again this year in math. He's a holy terror. There is no way you can teach these kids. They are totally out of control. It was a constant stream of negative judgment, criticism, blaming, and complaining. Not too long after, I discovered a group of dedicated teachers that hung out in the library and ate together at 2 tables in the teacher's lunchroom. They were positive and believed they could overcome and handle anything that was thrown at them. It implemented every new idea they shared, and I implemented every new idea they shared with me, as well as a few more that I picked up from my weekend class at the University of Chicago. As a result, I was selected by the student as Teacher of the Year in only my first year of teaching. Be selective. I just do not hang around anybody that I don't want to be with. Period. For me, that's been a blessing, and I can stay positive. I hang around people who are happy, who are growing, who want to learn, who don't mind saying sorry or thank you, and are having a fun time. John Asper, author of The Street Kid's Guide to Having It All. I'd like you to do a valuable exercise that my mentor, W. Clement Stone, did with me. Make a list of everyone you spend time with on a regular basis: your family members, your coworkers, your neighbors, your friends, people in your civic organization, fellow members of your religious group, and so on. When you've completed your list, go back and put a minus sign next to those people who are negative and toxic, and a plus sign next to those people who are positive and nurturing. As you make a decision about each person, you might find that a pattern will begin to form. Perhaps your entire workplace is filled with toxic personalities. Or perhaps it's your friends who naysay everything you do. Or maybe it's your family members who constantly put you down and undermine your self-esteem and self-confidence. I want you to do the same thing that Mr. Stone told me to do. Stop spending time with those people with a minus sign next to their name. If that is impossible, and remember, nothing is impossible. Possible is always a choice. Then severely decrease the amount of time you spend with them. You have to free yourself from the negative influence of others. Think about it. I'm sure you know people who only have to walk in the room to totally drain you of energy. I refer to these people as psychic vampires. They literally suck the life energy right out of you. Stop spending time with them. Are there people in your life who are always complaining and blaming others for their circumstances? Are there people who are always judging others, spreading negative gossip, and talking about how bad it is? Stop spending time with them as well. Are there people in your life who simply by calling you on the telephone can bring tension, stress, and disorder to your day? Are there dream stealers who tell you that your dreams are impossible and try to dissuade you from the believing and pursuing your goals? Do you have friends who constantly attempt to bring you back down to their level? If so, then it's time for some new friends. Avoid toxic people. Until you reach the point in your self-development where you no longer allow people to affect you with their negativity, you need to avoid toxic people at all costs. You're better off spending time alone than spending time with people who will hold you back with their victim mentality and their mediocre standards. Make a conscious effort to surround yourself with positive, nourishing, and uplifting people. People who believe in you, encourage you to offer you to go after your dreams, and applaud your victories. Surround yourself with possibility thinkers, idealists, and visionaries. Back to you, Scarlett.
Wow. I think, is it the same book that we were talking about? I think it is, the Emotional Vampires. My cousin has read that book and has it and actually just bringing it to me to read. It's supposed to be amazing, but I agree with this 100%. You know, I think that if there's times and places for that. I mean, there are some places in my life that I do volunteer to kind of help give a hand up to people that are hurting. That but that's one of my favorite line is, are you ready to take the victim crown off? Because some people wear that. I know I did in a past life, and I had this big story, and I held on to the story, and all it really was doing was just sucking the life out of everyone around me and sucking the life out of myself. So it was once I took that crown and put it in a box and put it away and decided that's not who I was going to be anymore, then my life started turning around, and then my life started changing. And so this is a pretty close to home kind of thing. I mean, we've all experienced, I've gotten to know some of the women on this group, and we've all had some tragedies. But, it's not the tragedy, isn't what makes us. Now, it may make us who we became, for sure. I know for myself, but it is not who defines who I am anymore, and that's the difference. I love this group. Feel very blessed, and I love the business that we're in because a lot of the people are very, it's very encouraging, very, very positive group of people. So I love this chapter in this book. I definitely can't wait to read that book, The Emotional Vampires, because I'm sure it's going to give more about this. But toxic people, that could be family members, friends. They definitely need to have their place in our life. That's, sometimes you can't just totally kick family out of your existence, but, you can set healthy boundaries on, how much they can have in your life. Does anybody else have any input on that?
I think that there is a really, really easy way. So for some people who may be listening to this and wondering, how do you go about it? How do you go about the steps of removing those people? And how can you make it real for yourself? The number one thing that you have to believe right now, and anyone listening to this, is that you deserve to have cheerleaders. You deserve to have people who will support you and love you, and they want to see you succeed in whatever you choose to do. And one of the easiest ways to get rid of those, I love that terminology, that life-sucking vampires, right? Because we can relate to those people. And here's an easy test to know if those people are that. When you have a conversation with them, do you leave the conversation feeling drained, unworthy, you're just emotionally tired and spent? Those are your suckers. Those are the ones who are draining your lifeblood from you. However, if you leave a conversation from a person and you feel uplifted, happy, joyful, ready to take your next step, those are going to be the people you want to spend more time with because you feel rejuvenated and not depressed after you've spoken to them.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you, because that's a great idea. Does anybody else have anything to say about this?
I'll just chime in here for 2 minutes. I'll just share with you from our personal life, like as a lot of you know, my husband is a recovered alcoholic. So 6 years ago, we totally had to switch friends. Like we couldn't hang out with the groups that he was hanging out with before that, right? Because he would just be sucked back into what he had been doing all those years. So for us, it was maybe for a long time, we're like, well, what do we do without those friends? Where do we get new ones? And it was amazing how everything just fell into place. And as we got to know our church family and stuff, and we grew, how the friends were replaced like with no problem. We didn't even think about the old friends anymore. And I'm not talking, of course, about family members, but there's a time and a place where you just have to say, that's enough, and I have to move on in life. And you don't look back and say, well, I can't move on. No, you have to make the decision to do it, and you have to step out of your comfort zone, and everything will fall in place for you. So don't just sit there and think about what wouldn't be there. Think about what's to come.
That you mentioned that, and no, I did not know that, but my husband is a recovered alcoholic, and before I met him, I think God kind of put us together because my father was an alcoholic. I spent 20 years in Al-Anon. So a lot of this stuff that we talk about, we're big AAers in this house. In fact, that's where he goes every day when we're in our meetings. So, and they talk about toxic people, and the program that I work, is definitely about setting boundaries and not being the victim. And that kind of thing. And that's what I meant actually when I said there is a place in my life that I do spend some time in, because I'm at the point of giving back. But that is not. But it's all about, even in that, it's all about surrounding yourself with the healthy people, not the ones that are for me, to show me how to get out of this situation. So I think that's awesome. Does anybody else have anything they want to say, or do we want to pick up and finish this? We are right at 12:29, Ms. Rachel.
I kind of think, basically, when I read over what the rest of the portion is, it basically just talks about how what's going to happen is, or what happens is, the reason why people fail to choose different people, people that are more successful than them, is the fear of rejection. So basically, it's just encouraging you to get past your fear of rejection and just, I mean, I think with Scarlett gave some really good ideas. Going to different clubs, the different organizations that was mentioned earlier, you can pay to be a part of them. You can go to your Better Business Bureau meetings. I mean, not Better Business, but what is it called downtown? Oh gosh,
Chamber
Oh,
of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Sharon. Start going to those types of meetings and taking an interest in other people's business and what they're doing, and that's the beginning part. In this reading, it also talked about how there's a company and the top five salespeople. Most people will be afraid to go and ask them, okay, what are you doing to have success? What is it that you actually did to get the success that you want? And so I would just like to add to that, encourage those who are listening and to go to those people who are having the success and say, hey, can you share with me what your secret is? Share with me what it is that you're doing to be the top salesperson in your company. So punch fear in the face, get rid of fear, and just go ahead and take action and ask that person. Because where we are always afraid that someone may say no, most people are more than willing to help you if you reach out. And and take some interest in what they're doing too. Maybe it's about promoting what they have before you go asking them all. Take some interest in them. See how you can serve them. And when you serve other people, they don't mind serving you. And it's 12:32, Scarlett. So you can go ahead and close it out if you don't have anything else to say.
I think this is a great chapter. Again, if you'd like to get a copy of this book, please see the person that invited you so they can send you the Amazon link, Success Principles. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, The Fearless Online Entrepreneurs, or you can click the button below if you're on the 22 Social to get more information. I thank you guys for being here. This is just always such a blessing to me. Thank you everyone for sharing today and just taking part of this. And tomorrow we are having, I believe, are we having a mastermind, Miss Rachel? Are we
Uh,
going to continue reading the next chapter of the book?
we're going to continue reading the next chapter of the book, and I
Okay.
believe Jody and Diane are going to next Tuesday bring us their accountability training.
Awesome. Okay, so join us tomorrow as we get ready to read Acknowledge Your Positive Past. So we're going to go to the positive side of this. And please join us tomorrow. And again, get with the person who sent you. And thank you so much for joining us with the Fearless Online Entrepreneurs. And have a blessed day.